Welcome to BharatLens, and today's story is one that should alarm every single person watching this. The man now running Iran, the country at the center of the world's biggest energy crisis, the country blocking the Strait of Hormuz, the country whose decisions directly determine what every Indian pays for petrol and cooking gas, has not been seen in public for over 6 weeks. Not a single live appearance. Not one real press conference. Not one verified video of him actually speaking. Instead, Iran has been broadcasting AI-generated deepfake videos of the Supreme Leader delivering messages to the nation. His name is Mojtaba Khamenei. He is 56 years old. He was elected Iran's Supreme Leader in a chaotic online vote, under pressure from the Revolutionary Guards, 9 days after his father was killed in a joint American-Israeli airstrike. And according to someone who knew him as a student, he believes that Iran has a God-given mission to bring about the end of the world. Today we go through the full story. Who he is. How he came to power. Why no one has seen him. Who is actually running Iran. And what every Indian needs to understand about the most dangerous power vacuum in the world right now. To understand the present, you need to understand what happened on a single morning in Tehran 2 months ago. February 28, 2026. The United States and Israel launched the most dramatic military operation since World War II, a sweeping assault on Iran's nuclear infrastructure, military command, and political leadership simultaneously. Ali Khamenei, who had served as Iran's supreme leader for 36 years, was killed in a joint US-Israeli strike on his Tehran compound. Israel and the US timed the strike to coincide with a meeting the supreme leader was holding with top aides, several of whom were also killed. The Tribune Iranian state TV confirmed Khamenei's death at around 5 a.m. Iran Standard Time. The published cause was the airstrike on his office within his residence. Iran announced the first step in a succession process that remains opaque and fraught with uncertainty. A 3-person leadership council was formed to hold power until a new supreme leader could be chosen. But what happened next was neither orderly nor constitutional. According to investigators, the IRGC tried to appoint a new supreme leader quickly on February 28 itself, the same day of the assassination, bypassing the formal electoral process entirely. Think about that. Iran's supreme leader was killed in the morning. By that same evening, the Revolutionary Guard was already trying to force through a replacement, without going through the constitutional body that is supposed to make that choice. The IRGC then pressured Assembly of Experts members to vote for Mojtaba Khamenei as Supreme Leader with repeated contacts and psychological and political pressure starting early on March 3. There was strong opposition from some members of the council, including 8 who stated they would boycott an online electoral meeting. Questions about the voting process itself also arose. The assembly building had been destroyed prior to the vote. Let that land. The building where Iran's highest clerical body was supposed to meet was bombed. The vote was held online. 8 members boycotted in protest. And the IRGC was applying psychological and political pressure on everyone else. Mojtaba Khamenei was announced as the new supreme leader on March 9, just 9 days after his father was killed. Father-to-son succession. In a republic that came to power by overthrowing the monarchy. The Islamic Republic, built on the ruins of the Shah's dynastic rule, had just created a new dynasty of its own. So who exactly is this man who now holds the most powerful position in Iran? Mojtaba Khamenei is 56 years old. He joined the IRGC in 1987 and served in the Iran-Iraq War. He later studied in Qom to become a cleric. He took control of the besieged paramilitary volunteer militia in 2009. The same year he used that militia to violently crack down on peaceful protesters during Iran's Green Movement. He is described as more hardline than his father, with close ties to the most ideologically extremist clerics within Iran's system. His father was dangerous. His son is considered more extreme. But the detail that should concern every person in the world most is this. A source who knew Mojtaba as a student described him as focused on the end of the world and apocalyptic questions, that he thought Iran had a mission from God to bring about the end of the world, and that he had a personal role in accelerating that process. The man now running the country that controls 20% of the world's oil supply, that has nuclear ambitions, that commands the IRGC and its proxies across the Middle East, believes he has a divine mission to accelerate the apocalypse. And he has not been seen in public for 6 weeks. This is the part of the story that most media is not covering loudly enough. More than 6 weeks after he was announced as supreme leader, Iranians have still not seen or heard Mojtaba Khamenei in person. In the midst of a conflict seen as posing an existential threat to the regime, Khamenei has been conspicuously absent. Instead, statements attributed to the 56-year-old cleric have been read out on national television or posted on social media. And then came the revelation that stunned the world. The regime has been using AI-generated videos to show Khamenei delivering messages, fueling speculation that the new supreme leader is incapacitated or has fled the country. Iran's government, using deepfake AI videos of its own supreme leader to pretend he is active and in command. Khamenei was injured in the same airstrike that killed his father. The extent of those injuries has never been officially disclosed. But the 6-week absence and the AI video substitution strongly suggest those injuries were serious. There are 3 theories circulating among intelligence analysts. Theory 1. He is severely injured and physically unable to appear in public. The AI videos are covering for a leader who cannot lead. Theory 2. He is hidden in a secure location outside Iran, possibly Qatar or another Gulf state, out of fear of a follow-up assassination attempt. His location is classified even from most Iranian officials. Theory 3. He is dead. And the Iranian regime, already fighting for survival against American and Israeli strikes, is hiding his death to prevent complete collapse of morale and government authority. Iran's opaque political system makes finding out just how fragmented its leadership really is extremely difficult. But the longer Khamenei stays out of the public eye, the louder the questions will become. If the supreme leader is absent, incapacitated, or dead, who is actually making decisions for 80 million Iranians in the middle of a war? Since the war began, the Islamic Republic has been operating less as a hierarchy organized around a single dominant figure and more as a hardline coalition trying to manage war, diplomacy, and internal competition simultaneously. In practice, the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, is the dominant force. It was the IRGC that pressured the election of Mojtaba. It is the IRGC that controls Iran's military operations, its proxy forces across the region, and its nuclear program. Iran's foreign minister announced that the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened to commercial shipping on April 17. The backlash within Iran was immediate. Hardline commentators, semi-official news outlets, and voices on state television questioned the timing. Within days, Iranian armed forces declared that the strait was closed again because the U.S. continued its naval blockade. One minister says Hormuz is open. The military says it is closed. 2 different power centers. 2 different signals. No clear supreme leader to adjudicate. This is a regime in a genuine leadership crisis, fighting a war, managing a succession, and hiding its most important figure from the world simultaneously. For India, this situation has direct and serious implications. India's Chabahar port project, India's gateway to Afghanistan and Central Asia, bypassing Pakistan, was negotiated with the government of Ali Khamenei. The new regime, dominated by IRGC hardliners who are more anti-Western and more unpredictable than the old guard, may not honor those arrangements in the same way. More than 330 million Indian households depend on LPG for cooking, and shortages have already prompted the government to direct local producers to reduce supplies for businesses to ensure household LPG needs are met. The Hormuz crisis, being managed by a leaderless, factionalized Iranian regime, is directly responsible for that. Pakistan's mediation efforts are also effectively on pause. The White House called off a planned trip by U.S. negotiators after Iran's foreign minister left Islamabad before they were due to arrive. Any peace deal that opens Hormuz requires Iran's leadership to hold together. And Iran's leadership is, right now, the most unstable it has been in 37 years. India has always preferred a predictable Iran, even a difficult, sanctions-ridden Iran, over a chaotic Iran. A predictable adversary can be managed. A leaderless regime with an IRGC controlling nuclear weapons and a Hormuz stranglehold. That is a different problem entirely. The country at the center of India's most acute energy crisis has a supreme leader nobody has seen for 6 weeks, a government producing AI deepfakes to pretend he exists, and a military that believes it has more authority than any cleric. That is the real state of Iran in April 2026. And India needs to plan for every possible outcome, including the one nobody wants to say out loud. Comment below. Do you think Iran is on the verge of collapse? And what should India do to protect its interests if the Iranian regime falls? I want your analysis.